If internet speculation and rumour is anything to go with, Frampton versus Scott Quigg is more and more likely to happen. And indeed, we've heard Eddie Hearn in recent interviews with IFL TV constantly refer to this fight and make it clear that it's not far off and that he's feeling optimistic. It even seems that Quigg has pulled out of negotiations for what was a rumoured Nonito Donaire fight to concentrate on getting this done. It's interesting. For me, this is one of those fights where, you know, it's gone on too long, really. When a fight is delayed for this amount of time, I start to lose hope that it's ever going to happen. I was one of those guys who was still denying that Mayweather would fight Pacquiao up till the press conference because, you know, when you've been made to wait for something so long and so long and so long, you kind of give up hope. It's similar to David Haye coming out of retirement. I guess the difference here is with like Amir Khan and Kell Brook, for example. These are guys who are stars in their own right. These are guys who have huge options out there. You know, potential Floyd Mayweather matchups, potential Manny Pacquiao matchups. And, you know, they can headline pay-per-view shows in their own right against lesser opponents and still earn good money. Now, with Frampton and Quigg, I don't really see it because there isn't the big money, the glamour opposition out there for them. And they're not well-known public figures who can draw a crowd and draw, you know, a huge salary by fighting nobodies. I mean, don't get me wrong, Carl Frampton's done fairly well for himself fighting in Belfast, and I'm sure he's making very good money. But what I mean is in terms of crossing over from those type of events to being a pay-per-view star, or crossing over from being in the boxing crowd to being a general celebrity amongst sporting fans, you know, these guys at their weight class are not going to do that without each other. Especially if you consider the top guys in their weight division, the likes of Rigondeaux, etc., probably will get them less money than if they just fought each other. I mean, almost certainly that would be the case. So, for me, this is a fight that logically has to happen because, unlike Khan and Brook, I don't see these guys having other big options out there aside from each other. Now, I talked about this fight with Ultratech Sports when I did a video with him some time ago now, you know, probably, let's say, 3 or 4 months ago. It was certainly before Quigg fought Martinez, and it was certainly before Carl had his fight out in the States. And we were talking about 50-50 fights. And one comment that I think we both agreed with was that this wasn't a 50-50 fight. You know, Carl Frampton was an astronomical favourite in this matchup. Times have changed now. You know, Scott Quigg, and I talk about this in nearly every one of my videos, but momentum is so key in boxing. Quigg is coming off a career-defining win against Kiko Martinez, where he showed destructive power to take him out very early in the biggest fight of his career. Frampton, on the other hand, has made his big US debut, and you've got to say, you know, whilst he's shown some good capability, he stumbled to victory. He got dropped several times, and he looked like he could get hurt in that fight. It wasn't just the fact that he got caught with a flash knockdown. It wasn't just the knockdowns that were concerned. It was the fact that the guy was able to expose defensive frailties in his game and hurt Frampton. And this guy, you know, I can't even remember the guy's name. He wasn't an elite level fighter. So you look back at the way Quigg took out Kiko Martinez, and you think if Quigg could take out Martinez that way, maybe he could hurt Frampton. And then you look at the two of them, and you see Scott Quigg as the much bigger man. You know, I see Quigg as a really big unit for that weight. Yet it was Frampton who was supposedly struggling with making the weight last time out. You know, it's interesting, but for me the momentum started to shift here, and I think it's becoming a more even fight. A year ago I'd have said, look, Quigg is one of these guys who hasn't really fought anyone. When he stepped up and fought Salinas, he drew, and Salinas is nothing special. He's one of these British European level fighters campaigning at world level, whereas Frampton's got the potential to be a pound for pound character. But momentum slightly changed. I really see it differently. Yesterday I took a little bit of a poll, you know, not that the Boxing Gossip franchise has enough followers to take a genuine poll, but I stuck it up on my Facebook account, which has a grand total of 50 friends. I stuck it up on my Twitter account as a grand total of 150 followers. So we're not talking big numbers here by any stretch of the imagination, especially when you consider that only a few people from each actually wrote back to me. But the consensus seemed to be that Frampton would win on points. What I did notice is that, whereas previously I reckon this would have been a 90-10 fight in terms of 90% of people picking Frampton, a lot of people were picking Quigg. I'd say 30-40%. And it's not just the people who are picking Quigg, it's that the people who are picking Carl Frampton were using phrases like Frampton by a razor close decision, or Frampton in a tight fight could go either way, that sort of thing. So this is an intriguing fight. This is a fight that has gone, in my mind, from being a sort of second tier, semi-competitive matchup to one that is very interesting. And I do think that if it can be made, it really should be made. As I say, it's not like some of the bigger weight classes, if you talk Frotts Groves, Brook Con, where the guys can go on superstardom without each other. I don't see how these guys can go to superstardom, and I don't see how these guys can earn the mega bucks without fighting each other. Let's face it, a loss for either of them wouldn't necessarily end their careers. But being involved in an event that would be as high profile as this matchup, would really, really define them. So for me, fantastic fight, getting closer. Genuinely, I would struggle to pick a winner now. Genuinely, I would struggle to pick a winner. And I've been Team Frampton for many, many years. But I would need to do some serious thinking. I guess you'd still make Carl Frampton a slight betting favourite, although I guess that's tightened up as well. Let me know your thoughts. Will the fight happen? If it does happen, who wins? How do they win? Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this, give me the thumbs up. Let's hope Eddie Hearn can work his magic on this one.